Welcome to the bunker. In this video, I'll show you how to do slime pooled bases like I did on this model. Without wasting any time, let's jump right in. If you already have the model attached to the base, you'll have to remove it first. I usually use blue tack to attach my models until I have a proper base. Alright, so let's go over a few of the materials that we're going to need. The first thing you'll need is to create some texture. I like to use Vallejo's Gray Sand ground texture. To create the initial color, I'll be using Steel Legion Drab from Games Workshop Citadel series. You'll also need a wash. I'll be using Agrex Earth Shade. For a highlight, you'll need a bone white. Any bone white will do, but I'll be using Abshanti Bone. For the slime pools, we'll keep it simple. I'll be using a technical paint. For this, I'll be using Nurgle's Rot. To add some variety to the base, I'll be using Army Painter's Tufts. I like Winter Tufts just because it gives a nice varied tone. Now let's take a look at how I put it all together. As I've mentioned already, first step, remove your model from the base. Blue tack makes this really easy. Pick off the remaining blue tack. Texture paint is basically just a pigment with some suspended sand or other kind of texture built in. It's really easy to use. All you have to do is take a flat brush or some kind of texture spreader, then just take it and spread it over the entire base, just like this. You want to be pretty generous with this. You want to coat the entire base pretty thick, just because with the next step you'll need a pretty thick coat. Make sure you wipe off the edge so you have a nice clean edge for paint later. Then you take your paintbrush and create wells in the top, just for places to keep your slime. You can kind of put this wherever, but keep in mind you want to keep it away from where your model would generally stand. Once you have your initial circle made, you don't really want to keep it a perfect circle just because it looks unnatural. So just add a few dabs and a few swipes on the other side just to kind of randomize it. I'll be adding a couple of these throughout the base. Different sizes, different shapes, nothing perfect. If you want, you can use some sculpt tools to kind of add some more variance to the base. You can create kind of drags between the different channels or even just more gaps, just kind of randomize it, make it a bit more natural. Once you're happy with the texture, let it dry for about 24 hours. Once your texture is dry, you want to give it some color. I'm going to be using a medium brown. You don't need the thin to paint for this application, just completely cover the top. Next up, coat the entire top of the base with your brown shade. I'm being fairly generous with this because I want to give it a lot of contrast. Once your shade is dry, we're going to give it a single highlight to bring out the craters. For this, you can dry brush on any bone white. For dry brushing, I like to use makeup brushes. This concealer brush from e.l.f. is fantastic, and you can get it at Walmart for about $2. Nothing special about this dry brushing. Just add a little bit of paint to the paintbrush and wipe it off in a paper towel until you only have a little bit left. Your brush should look something like this. Maybe a bit less. Once your brush is dry enough, just gently guide it over the top of the base just to add a little bit more definition. As you can see, it quickly brings out the detail. Now that the dry brushing is done, you can see that there are a few craters that are formed across the base. We're going to be using those to create your craters, using the Nurgle's Rot. Just kind of dab it in there. Be really generous here. I use 2 or 3 coats after, just to kind of give it a nice thick consistency. Some people like to put a little bit of yellow base coat underneath, but I find it kind of makes it a little bit too vibrant. Once you're happy with your slime pools, kind of do a dry fit of your model to make sure that there's some empty space there for the model to actually clip in. That way it looks a little clean when you put it on, and it actually lets you check to see where to put the next step. I'll be adding a couple of those static grass tufts to the base just to kind of add a bit more variation. Very simple to add these. Add a tiny bit of super glue to the bottom of the tuft. You can use tweezers for this if you want to, but my fingers are fine. And just kind of stick it on, give it about 5 seconds to dry. And it's there forever. I added 2 of these. All that's left to do now is to attach the model. Put a little bit of super glue on the feet and stick it on, let it stick. And that's about it. If this content helped you, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel to see more videos like it. Until next time, happy hobbying.